Am I doing the introduction?
I don't know. Hello, Gordon.
Mark, hello.
Gordon. No, what a professional intro. Well, this is going up on both channels. So,
Yeah,
Gordon Smith-Durant. I don't know how to say it.
Duran. Yeah, Duran.
Duran. I always get worried about pronouncing things right. I get so many people's surnames wrong. I do apologise to everybody whose surname I've ever got wrong. I've got some. I've got some people on my. We were just talking about it on my course at the moment, and I literally can't pronounce some of their surnames. So I just stick to first names. How are you anyway?
Do you know I'm top of the pops? Absolutely top of the pops. What
You
about
look
yourself?
really well.
Thank you.
It's living in Spain now, isn't it? That's got to be.
It's living in Spain, in the countryside, away from the madness. Yes, it's very, very nice.
I'm looking extremely Irish at the moment, washed out.
Well, the same here. The suntan is just not the same in the winter here. Mm.
Slightly less washed out, but blind. Where are you?
So tell me about your microphone. Tell me about your new microphone. That is very, very big.
Well, thank you.
Its size isn't important, Mark, but hey, it's
You say
worth
that
it.
to all the fellas. The JCK made me buy this. She sent me a thing. She said, "Get a new microphone." Here's a list. So I just went and got it. I was actually thinking before we got on, for those of you watching on my channel who've not seen Gordon before, Gordon's been on. We've spoken twice, I think, before. Gordon was on early on in my original channel, and back then I had no idea I'd still be doing this, however many months later.
Sure.
And now, people go, "No, your sound quality." So I get a microphone. Oh, then you got to do this, and you got to, then and I'm doing it. It's like a full-time job.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Didn't expect it to go on this long.
No, nor did I. But hey, ho, how much are we learning, Mark?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I was thinking that just before we came on as well.
Mhm.
I feel like I've been washed through from top to bottom, and every cell in my body is relearning who I am.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
so I call it spiritual quarantine. I think that's what it is.
Hmm. Absolutely. It's been, I was just talking the other day to somebody about these 2 years. Oh, they've been tough 2 years. Best 2 years of my life. These are somebody was saying time flies, and it's because we've never been more in the present now than ever. I certainly haven't. I'm living every moment. It's incredible.
I feel the same, but it has been tough. It's
Hmm.
I just went for a haircut,
Right.
and my barber's a fantastic guy, and I just walked out confused. It's like I don't. I think a lot of people around here know what I do, and they keep it quiet, and they just sort of say hello and morning and stuff. And this guy knows what I do, but we keep the conversation polite,
Uh-huh.
chit chat, a few jokes, bit of this, bit of that. He's a football fan, so I thought I'd bring it in. I'd slip it into the conversation. Have you seen how many footballers have collapsed on the pitch in the last 6 months? And he gone, yeah, yeah, blah, blah. And I thought, yeah, and I thought, I know he's a football fan, so I said, oh, there was a tweet from Matt Letitia the other day saying, how many more footballers have to collapse before we start investigating the fact that it was this? And he went, oh, it's definitely this. And then in the next breath, he said he'd had two of these. And then in the next breath, he told me about a guy locally who owns a shop in town whose 22-year-old son, fit as a fiddle, intensive care,
Good.
clot on his heart, and I'm like, I said, well, don't get any more of them. And he's like, well, I'm like, what? So that side of it is just mind-boggling.
It is.
It's
It is.
mind-boggling. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I know this is a spiritual situation. I know this is God's plan. I know there's a good outcome, but why? Oh, why? Oh, why? Oh, why? It just breaks my heart.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I'll tell you what's been happening though, and this is something I'm seeing in Spain, and I'd made a video about it, and I got such a lot of feedback about the same thing. There's a shift happening that I can feel because of this spiritual war that we're in, where they're pushing, and for it's almost like a loop. Every time they push, they wake more people up, and
I know.
they know they've got to push, because if they don't push, they're not going to achieve what they want to achieve. But every time they push, it backfires on them. And just now, because they've said that you've had two, not worth anything, not worth shit, not worth shit. You've got to have the number three, yeah. So here, we've been to various places, and for 2 years, well, a year and a half, we haven't said anything. You don't talk about it because you got hammered. We were in a party. Everybody was talking about it, Mark, saying something wrong. The pharmaceutical companies or you can see there's something wrong. This is not right. It like I've heard this conversation over and over again. All people who've had two saying, I'm not going to have the third. This is a dictatorship. So
That's
this is the
good.
first time I've heard it, Mark. This is like a little shift that I'm hearing, which
Well,
is great.
I remember last time we spoke and you were talking about people coming around and you said you don't have to wear that, and so it's quite interesting seeing the change between our last chat and this chat. There has been a massive shift for me personally, internally and
Mhm.
multidimensionally. But I think when you've been aware of this, I've been aware of this coming for many years. So I've
Good.
I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and I just it still breaks my heart to see young kids dropping dead. It just or in ICU or whatever. It's just that's the really tough part of it for me, which I don't normally notice because I don't really play any part in 3D.
Yeah.
But when you have to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
and get a haircut, suddenly you're in 3D again, and you're chatting to, and I'm just like, I just want to help everybody. I just want to pull them all out of this quicksand. It feels like they're all in the quicksand. I'm like, come on, get out quick before you drown. And it's,
Sure.
I don't know. It's amazing. I mean, it's so weird. I mean, I just went on Telegram earlier, and Santa Surfing shared my poem "We See You"
Oh
yesterday,
yeah.
and she shared it 3 or 4 times. But yesterday, in 24 hours, 107,000 views, and I'm like,
Wow.
what? I went to have a look at some of the comments. And one comment I read this morning said, "I heard this 6 months ago, but only now am I starting to understand the words." And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Hmm. It's really interesting you mentioned that because I was watching a video came up on my stream of a nice guy, a guy from the UK who does little snippets. Anyway, his title was "We See You" and then the name of somebody, and I thought, wow, that's your poems infiltrated into language now in the awakened world.
Well, the truth is, God wrote that through me,
Hmm.
and I've been saying for quite a while that these poems that I've written in the last year have all come from the future. Very, very strange thing to say, I know, but it's
Nothing strange now, Mark. There's
yes,
nothing strange now.
and I've really screwed up sometimes because when I've bumped into a few 3D people, they say, "What have you been up to?" And I've gone, "Well, I'm possibly the most famous living poet on earth." And they go, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know you, Mr. Billy Big Bollocks." And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's not about me. It's just these poems are just like whatever they are, and it is amazing. I mean, look, every artist in the world that's producing anything that's helping people wake up, and there's lots of us. We're all contributing towards this, and it's not about us. It's about God literally talking through us. I mean, even having a YouTube channel is and talking about this stuff is part of that,
Yeah,
and that's very you know amazing, humbling.
it is.
But just I don't know. I get frustrated that it's just not happening fast enough, and I know that's a 3D way of thinking, but it's like the one thing that has kept me kind of uh, stuck in 3D to some degree has been my own kids, because it's like coming for the kids, they're coming for the kids, and then it's like my kids come first, and I'm not I'm like like any parent, I'm not gonna
Absolutely.
no
Yeah.
fucking way you getting anywhere. But that's been really difficult because teenage daughters refusing to not go to school. I've told
Yeah.
them, don't go to school. I'll homeschool you. I'll pay for a tutor, whatever.
Yeah.
No, because they want to see their friends. So the level of compromise that we're all at, everybody's been at during this process, is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And that's where the one of the real struggles of this whole thing has been. But I
Mhm.
remain massively optimistic.
Sure. Sure.
So there was a great word. Sorry, I saw this
Well,
great word. Somebody put up a meme and I shared it. It was I'm an apocalyptimist.
absolutely.
Whoever came up with that, that's brilliant.
Well, talking about that, I'd like to share just a couple of messages that have come through. I channel the
Yeah.
emissaries and
The mysteries of light.
the emissaries of God.
God.
Yeah, they added God on emissaries of God, even though I wasn't happy about it. Um, and what they've said, a couple of things, a couple of messages lately. One is that 2022 is going to be the year of where we, the awakened people, are going to unite.
I hope so.
Yeah, because unity is what they're saying is without unity, we aren't going to take this forward.
Hmm.
And so their message was, and there's one I keep sharing is that what everybody's got to start to do is to chunk up on what we all agree with. Because at the moment here in Spain, it's a disaster, Mark. It's a disaster. We've got people who are arguing about the details and calling one another and saying that they're on the baddie side, and it's just madness. And we've got to chunk up to agree that we all agree that there's a group of bad people who want the worst for us, and that's all that we need to do. And that's what I think 2022 is going to be. It's the year of where we all realize that we all believe one thing, and we can all unite because of that one belief.
Well, I'm glad you're saying that. I feel that strongly too. I did write. I'm just as you were speaking, I wrote a line in a poem. I think it's February, where I said the truth. It was after the election, the fake inauguration, and I put the truth is eating each other, and we're seeing that all over the place.
Yeah.
People like Charlie and Mel K and people like that are all getting attacked left, right, and centre. But then you've currently got the thing between Lynn Wood, General Flynn, and what's the name? The Kraken.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's really interesting because I will not badmouth anyone, right? Because everybody is on their individual journey. I don't know if I'm talking to a CIA agent or an MK Ultra person. I have no idea. I know multidimensionally. I've had people on my channel that have tried to extract my energy or have attacked me because of being on YouTube. I know from my own healing network of people that help me that
Mm-hmm.
they have come at me through the channel because I'm public. And this is a really interesting aspect to this that I've had
Mm-hmm.
to learn about, in
Yeah,
the last year and a bit.
yeah.
Um, but the you can see it on one level. It looks like there's all this infighting and arguing over, like you said, facts and figures. But what does where we go, one we go all mean? Well, it means we unite. It means unity. It means exactly what you just said. And I believe that's going to happen. I can't see how exactly it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes it looks like, how's that possible?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so I've got a very, I won't, I'm channeling, right? And I'm getting, I've had it from the beginning. The image I got last year was this multi-dimensional chessboard, which is massive, and we're all pieces on the board, and we're all being moved around precisely as is required to achieve the objective. And what is the objective? It is truth and freedom from this curse that we've had on us for all this time, this
Mm-hmm.
infiltration. But I do also feel very strongly that things are going to flip. Can't do my fingers very well, but
I'll do it for you. There you
thank you.
are.
Well, yeah, you're a professional musician. You should be able to do it. But it's like that petri dish we had in school in the biology classes when you just put introduce a new bacteria and then it goes, and then suddenly the whole thing flips.
Yeah.
That's what I really feel that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But am I giving hopium? I don't know. It's just I also believe that being an optimist or a apocalyptimist is part of the law of attraction. If
Absolutely.
we are focused on the outcome that we want and we feel good about that and we believe it's going to happen, we're the creators. That's why they've had us in this prison, this low density, low frequency prison, because they know that we are the ones who are actually creating it. So that
absolutely.
they've been feeding us with the signals to create a world that's just enough to keep the farmyard animals, as in us, in place. Give them just enough spirituality within a dogma. Give them just enough of this and just enough of that
Yeah,
to keep them busy for 70 years. And then, but in their last breath, they go, "Oh, I've worked it all out, gone," and it's too late. You know,
sure.
and it's too late because you've already passed your kids on to the state and the system and everything else. And this is, seeing the mind control from as a father to the children. Oh, it's such a battle to fight the things coming out my daughter's mouth. Sometimes I'm like, well, what did you just say? I said that's not true. That you've been in, climate change,
Absolutely. Yeah.
LGBT,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
BLM, all that stuff. And I'm
Mhm.
like, hang on, think about this a bit deeper. But it's very hard when you've got an embryonic brain that's is very very not controlled, but influenced by the need to be socially accepted.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just extraordinary, and it's a fight. It's a real fight.
Sure. Sure. They're talking about the unity thing. There's one other message I want to share, but they're talking about the unity thing. What I don't remember. I talked to you a while ago about the idea of everyone who's awake wearing a badge when they're
Mm.
out. Yeah, and
Yes.
I've got my little badge on. I wear my badge when I go out. And I met this beautiful lady over in Toronto, Renata, and she said, "I'll do that for you, Gordon. I'll just set up a badge making factory." So she got all this stuff in, and it's going okay, and she's getting some orders. But the idea behind it, and I stole it from somebody else, was I thought, if we're going to unite, we need to know who we are. We really need to know who we are, because when you watch the protests, you would never be able to identify who we are. There are old ladies, young children, there are mothers, there are, everything is so varied. So my thought was, imagine you could go into the supermarket, into a store, and you would see somebody with a little badge on, with a heart on, awake, aware. You go, that's my person. And yeah, I would go up and kiss them. I would give them a hug.
Well, I've got a friend nearby who's an artist, and she's been making badges that just say "hug me," and
Right.
people have been they've been running little demos on the road, and they go through markets singing songs. I caught them on video a few months ago,
Uh-huh.
and that's terrific. And I'm sorry I didn't get back to you on that properly because I could have shared that out, and we'll put a link below this for whatever that
Yeah.
thing. I,
Yeah.
personally, I kind of it is wonderful when you meet somebody that is, and I do hug them, you know.
Absolutely.
Thursday mornings here for me is great if I get down to the market because there's loads of people go down there, and it's always hugs, and all the
Yeah.
people in Mars are looking at us like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And it's lovely. Although I have been identified by this crazy woman down there who's like vaccine V word
Oh.
Nazi,
Mhm.
who's all over social media and slags me off for being a far right QAnon blah blah blah. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, you kind of recognize people. Anyway, I just got to this unity thing though. It's a step in the right direction, and I think that's a good thing, and I applaud that. Have you met anybody wearing one yet that
We've handed them. What we've done is I mean, there's a guy who was a policeman who was thrown out of the police because he wouldn't wear the mask.
good
And,
man?
and he started here in Spain. He started this group, which got bigger and bigger and bigger. And he did this wonderful thing. And this is, I would love everyone to do it. He just started to divide everybody into the regions, and he's formed groups on Telegram. So we suddenly discovered all of the people who were awake in Guadalajara. And now we get together, we meet once a week and everything. So everybody's got their little badge on. That has been the most powerful thing that I think's happened, is because he has such a big audience. He just said, right, well, let's just create some groups and you get together, and that's it. It's just taken off, and obviously the more suddenly it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's beautiful.
Well, that's what. Yeah, I've got some friends here are doing a thing on a Tuesday evening, and they said, "Are you going to come along?" And I was like, "That's not really my thing. I'm actually not very good in crowds. I'm good in front of a crowd, but I don't like being in a room full of people.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
I'm also very resistant to joining anything.
Uh-huh.
I've been asked to join a number of things recently, and I've said,
Sure.
I'm really sorry, but I grew up in a village where I saw a religion grow from nothing, and the guy that ran that religion, molested and worse my dad, and I was in the military, so I'm very against any kind of like joining thing, but I'm all for people doing that if it makes them feel good.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing I've noticed is infiltration. The protests here in Ireland, for example, they've got bigger to some degree. I don't think they about a year ago was the last time I went to one in Dublin, and all I keep hearing about is fifth columnists, infiltration. Who do you trust? Who is all, and that's what this is all about. If
Divide
I
and conquer. Divide
Yeah,
and conquer.
and they just infiltrate. The French Revolution was started by about 10 agents, Rothschild agents. They
Hmm.
changed the whole course of history with a handful of people.
Yeah.
So I found it, and also I get targeted because and a lot of us that are public do, because
Sure.
and you don't know who you're dealing with. So it kind of,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
on one hand, it also makes you a little bit paranoid. So you just kind of keep yourself to yourself, and then there's infighting that goes on and all that kind of stuff. But that's all detail. You're absolutely right that we are. It has. So what? Yeah. So what do you think, or what are the emissaries telling you that is the event or
Ah,
thing
right.
is going to achieve this?
So, well, the second thing, I mean, what they've said is, unity is going to be the way forward because let's say we're 30%. These are the numbers this is a gut feel I have. These are numbers that I see bandied about 30, 35%. Um, we can change the world if we unite. 30% is always what changes everything. The majority of people, the bog standards, don't do anything. They don't bring anything to the party. They have no energy. They just follow the 30% that has the loudest voice. So when we unite, that's certainly my good feel is that when we have the strength, when we all have one message, you just need one message, then suddenly people will start to listen to us. But the emissaries were saying that we're in the process of a very important shift, like a pivotal moment. Um, and what they're saying is that there's going to be a wave of people who are going to come join us, but they're going to come. They're going to be the walking wounded. So they basically what's going to happen is very soon people are going to lose all of the beliefs, lose all of the values, lose the identity. They're going to find out that everything that they've ever known has been a lie, and everything they think about themselves is a lie, and everything they think about the government. And so what's going to happen is they're going to be the emissaries' words were that they're going to be create a vacuum inside of themselves. They're going to be empty, like they're not going to know who they are. And what they're going to do is they're going to fill that vacuum with all of the information that's out about the situation. And there's a lot of information. Not only is there a lot of information, but it's also very diverse and it's also very contradictory. And what they say is that what they're going to do is they're going to fill themselves too quickly and too fast, too quickly and too much with this information, and it's going to create chaos. They're going to be absolutely furious, and they're going to be confused and they're chaotic. And so that's what they're saying is, I said, are we moving toward, these changes are going to be for the better or for the worse? And they said for the better, because it's moving us closer to our golden age, our paradise, call it what you will. And for the worst, because it's going to bring chaos with it. And the chaos is because of these people are going to be lost, wounded.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I think a lot of us feel that, which is why a lot of people watching you and me are healers who are rising, getting prepared for this time. Um,
Absolutely.
when they get to the point where they empty themselves out, do you think do you think that's an EBS situation,
What's an ABS situation?
the emergency broadcast system? Because
Ah,
I can't think of any other way of doing it.
I don't know. I've asked about that, and they don't go into that kind of detail. They're very, very broad brush. But what they were saying was that it's just going to be a moment of realization when they lose every single tenet that they've built their life on. And it's going to be so overwhelming for them. Quite how that happens. But already I can hear in Spain, I can hear this in people. But wait a minute, this is a dictatorship. Wait a minute, the pharmaceutical companies seem to be lining their pockets. Wait a minute, it's just a little flip. Yeah. And interesting, because you said exactly the same. The next part of the message was, we have to prepare ourselves for that. And I said, to help, yes, we have to prepare, because we are the ones that they're going to turn to, because they've got nothing else. All of that's empty now. There's nothing. They can't turn to the government. They can't turn to, what. So they're going to turn to us. But they said they won't turn to us straight away, because
no, they'll be angry.
They're going to be in fight or flight. We won't be able to help them. So they said, you have to wait. When they get over that and that chaos ends, then we'll be ready to help. So all they're saying is, we have to prepare ourselves. We have to get ourselves strong, physically, mentally, and spiritually ready.
Well, that's what the spiritual quarantine's been all about. I was watching Cliff High the other day, and he put it very well when he said that people like us have spent the last X amount of time waking up knowing we're at war, going to bed knowing we're at war, and having that in our minds all day, whereas most of these people have no idea that we're in a war, right? So it's like that's psychologically tough in itself, and the process that they're about to go through, me personally, it's a 30-year process for me.
Absolutely.
And and it was tough.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna have it like this in a very short time frame. If what you say is right, and I think it is. So yeah, the being prepared emotionally, spiritually, physically for all of that is critical. And I feel like that's been the case with me. Well, the other thing I was going to say is that I'm noticing leaders rising through this. In Australia, in particular, you've got Ricardo Bassi and Graham Hood. Two amazing Australians who are rising, and I saw a speech with Graham Hood the other day. He was the airline pilot who, I think he was in Sydney, and he had thousands of people there, and people holding up hoodie for PM, and this is happening. But I'm seeing a couple of guys in the UK and a couple in Ireland not necessarily got that kind of traction yet, which is interesting, because Australia was like the hardest place to wake up. From the outside. It looked that way. They had the worst shit. And I've been the feeling I've been getting is that it's kind of like, if you want to call them white hats, right? They are kind of just waiting for this consciousness level to hit a certain point, and certain places need to be hit harder to get to that point than other places.
Yeah. And
that's how it feels to me, and it certainly sounds like, from your anecdotal evidence and from my own, that people they're nearly there.
The message I've got is that and it obviously when I look back at my life, this is what happens. If you're going to wake up, you've got to suffer first. You've got to suffer. It comes through suffering. It's the hero's journey, isn't it? You've got to leave home. You've got to leave the comfort of the home, go and fight the monster. Then you fall in love, and then you find your treasure, and then you come home. But people have got to fight the monster. And so in many respects, although we don't want this to happen, we've got to let them suffer. They've got to suffer, because if they don't suffer, they're not going to come through to the next step. And so that's why Australia has done this mega rebound, because they were suffering much more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Much more. And look how they've rebounded. And that's what we need. We need them to push, because it's like every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
That's Newtonian physics. I'm not sure I'd agree with that, but on a quantum level, maybe.
As well, but if they push us, it's the same. You can do this test. I don't know if you've ever done it. You go up to somebody. You just go up to somebody and say, "Put your hand up." Yeah. You put your hand up. You put your hand on it, and you press against their hand. I've done this over and over. I used to do this in the courses that I run. You press against their hand. You don't say anything. Just say, "Put your hand up." Right. They will match your pressure. They won't let you go back. They won't push you forward. They'll just match your pressure. And the harder you press, the more they press. And then I say to them, "Why did you press? Why did you Push back. Because I don't know, because you pushed me. It's just a natural instinct that we've got. We can't help it. Somebody pushes us, we've got to push back. It's just from the, I don't know, it's within our DNA. And that's what's happening. The harder the push, the harder we push.
Yeah, correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that just reminded me of one that I do it. I used to do at live events. I've obviously not done one for a couple of years, but I get people to close their eyes. No, I get people to point their finger out and then turn backwards and point, and then remember where they, as far as they could, and remember where they pointed to, and then do it with their eyes closed. And they were always further than they were with their eyes open. It's a great way of just explaining to people that there's so much more to you than what you think there is, because it's your brain that's limiting everything.
Exactly.
But I'm glad you mentioned the hero's journey as well, because hero's journey has been a big part of my life. I first read The Hero of a Thousand Faces about 30 years ago, and I directed a comedy show that was my friend had written it, and it was really good in essence. But it was meandering all over the place, and it was just joke. And I said, no, we need to hook this on something. And I used the hero's journey,
Mm-hmm.
and then we turned this 3-hour joke fest into a 45-minute tight hero's journey story, and that play toured for 7 years, and then
Wow.
got made into a BBC thing, and I became a West End director just because of the hero's journey. So the hero's journey is so important. David Wilcock talks about the hero's journey being in, and people might have viewpoints about David Wilcock. I've got a lot out of him over the last 15 years. And again, I don't know if he's turned bad or whatever. And to be honest, I don't really care, because I've got a lot out of him. It's the same as people slagging off David Icke. It's like, well, say whatever you want. His books have given me a huge amount.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I'm thinking about the hero's journey all the time. And I just wrote down here, Luke Death Star. This Omicron, however it's pronounced. It's, people need to, everybody watching this should just go and get a book on the hero's, just read the hero's journey.
Sure.
And understand it. David Wilcock talks about it being the 26,000 year cycle is a hero's journey. Your own life is a hero's journey. Every cell in your body is is following a hero's journey.
Yeah.
And that's why the hero's journey is the hero's journey. That's why the Hero of a Thousand Faces was first written, because I can't remember his name who wrote it now, but he, every story that's resonated through history has the same structure.
Every film, it's
Everything.
over and over again. If people want to read an entertaining hero's journey, the book The Alchemist is the quintessential hero's journey. It's beautiful. It is a life-changing book, The Alchemist, but it's the hero's journey.
I think I've read that. I've definitely got it somewhere.
Yeah,
I think
definitely worth a read. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, brilliant. So what I want to say to people watching this is that, however bad it looks, just remember Luke and the Death Star, when all his mates had been shot down. He had one missile left, and his guidance system was gone, or whatever. And then, use the Force, Luke. And then, pop, in it goes. War won. That's the feeling I get. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I am an apocalyptimist. Might be wrong. I mean, somebody sent me an email yesterday saying, oh, this is from a guy. I just got this from a guy who, you get these all the time, but I read this one because I like the guy that sent it to me, and I was like, oh God, it was so depressing reading it. It was flipping all the things that we're currently seeing into, what if Trump is Black Sun, which is what Kim Guggen says. And what if all this is a double, triple bluff, and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's why it's a spiritual quarantine, because it's a test of your own faith and your own connection to God. And what I said to the barber this morning, I said, look, when you have this, you're essentially saying God got it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I don't trust the immune system. I don't trust it. So you don't trust this incredible thing, this vessel that you've got, which is incredible, and people don't trust it.
Absolutely. Something that you said, it reminded me of a message that I've been given. Mark, I'm sure you're exactly like this. I don't know who's speaking when I talk anymore. I don't know where these messages are coming from. I don't know if it's my idea or if whatever. I just say what I feel and out it comes. But I've been saying lately, We are the white hats. We
Yes.
are the white
Yeah.
hats.
Yes.
Well, if there are other white hats working, beautiful. Let them do the job. But no, we are the white hats. We mustn't be waiting for anybody to come. It's our job. We are all part of this.
Well, I did an interview with an amazing woman called Julia Fairfax the other week, and she said we are all what did she say? I can't remember. Sorry, Julia. She said we're all doing this in disguise. And this comes back to the thing about the chessboard that I said before. Every single one of us, right, is doing it.
Yeah.
And this concept, this kind of the break in the program was the inauguration was the key to this, because there were lots and lots of truthers expecting Trump to come in, big arrests and blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you look back on it, it's like that not happening was the greatest chess move in history, because then everybody went, oh, fuck, we're on our own. Okay.
Yeah.
And then people
Yeah.
keep going, oh, nobody's going to save us. Nobody's going to save us. And then a lot of the negative comments against some of the truthers that have popped up in the last year have been, oh, I don't listen to that shit anymore because nobody's coming to save us. We're all done. And I'm like, no, it's the opposite to that, because just by having this time without somebody coming in on a white horse means that the work that we're doing internally, the every time we say a prayer, every time we're kind to somebody, every time we meditate and connect with our higher selves, that is the work. That is the work. Every time we go to a healer is like you and get some help with something, we're doing the work. And it
Yeah.
only dawned on me this year that I've been doing the work for years. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
people said you've got to work with the dark side. Well, I'm like, well, yeah, I've been in the dark side for years and years and years. I'm still learning, and we're all still learning, and that is but it is, like you said, it's a painful process,
Yeah.
and you have to go through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to take you back to a comment you made, Marcus. I thought it was really important about. I don't. I was a child of the 80s when, and I was in business, and it was all this big wave, this American wave of positive thinking and teamwork, and there's no I in team, and all. It was
Yeah.
lovely. I loved that. It was whoa. Then and I was a big believer in, still am, in positive thinking. Okay. And then in the 90s, they came along. They obviously saw that, hang on, this is getting out of hand. People are starting to become a little bit too, a bit too good at this. They came along in the 90s and said, positive thinking is a load of shit. And there was such a wave of talk about positive thinking is useless. It's meaningless. And I thought, you bunch of bastards, I was enjoying that. And what the positive thinking was labeled as something very mechanical, but basically it was, you start creating your reality.
Yeah.
And where we are now is, and this is why it's so important that people need to understand, every word that we speak is a spell.
Yeah.
Every
Absolutely.
word that we speak is creating something. In the beginning was the word.
Yep.
We were brought about with a word.
On a sound wave.
We are going to bring about the new future, whatever it's going to be, on the words that we speak. And so all of this horribleness that I'm hearing of, oh, it's it, we're doomed, and he's a baddie, and this is dreadful, and oh my God. Fortunately, the great news is that a negative spell has 1% of the force of a positive, happy, high energy spell.
Yeah.
And so the good thing, that's why 30% we can change everything.
Well, that's why love conquers everything.
Everything. Yeah.
That's why
you walk into a dark room, put the light on, the light will always win. The dark can't exist in light. So it's just every positive thing that we say, every time we, as you say, help somebody, we do a good deed, we think a positive thought, we imagine. We've got to start imagining the future we want, and not talking about what we don't want. Never talk about what you don't want. We've got to talk about what we want.
Well, yeah, and also change the way that we talk about what we want, because in the course that I do, I launched this year, the first element of that course is how to reprogram your brain to actually get the things that you want. And when you talk about the 90s and the early 2000s, they brought in things like The Secret.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I bought 100 copies of The Secret and gave it to every member of staff in my business, because I had a business with lots of people in, and I got the managers to come around the house, and I'd make them sit down and watch films like What the Bleep, and trying really hard to get, this is like 12 years ago, trying really hard to get them to the point where they understood what was going on. But even then with The Secret, it became, over the next couple of years, it became apparent to me that The Secret was exactly this. They did exactly the same thing with The Secret that they did with Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and that is they took out the key elements, exactly the same as they did with the Bible at the Council of Nicaea when they took out 88 books or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they just take out these key elements so that you've got this great. This is what I meant early on. You've got this great big program, and it's all true, but the bits that make it work have been taken out. It's like the flux capacitor's been taken off the DeLorean. It's just been, it doesn't work, and that's what they've been doing throughout history, just to keep us in the trap. And the way that, you know, for anybody watching this who doesn't understand what I'm saying, just keep it really simple. One exercise I used to do in live groups is I'd get everybody to write down all the things they wanted to be, all the things they wanted out of life. I did this loads of times, and then they'd all sit and write these things out. Then I'd get them all to read them out one by one, because it's great to voice these things. And they'd all say things like, I want to be rich, I want to be happy, I want to be prime minister, I want to be, and then I'd let them all do it. And if it was a big room, it could take an hour. And then I said, do you want the good news or the bad news? And they go, what's the bad news? I say, none of that's going to happen for any of you. They're like, oh, what? I said, just the language that you're using. Firstly, I want means you haven't got it. So you're coming from a place of lack, which means the universe is going to give you exactly what you're after, which is nothing. So you've not got it. So you don't get it. So, which is why you had millions of people with vision boards with pictures of Ferraris and big houses and holidays that never got any of it. And are still in debt today. So you have to change the language, and the language, what you have to do is actually be there so you've already got it, or you do it from the future. So you can say, why have I got this? Or why am I so happy? But then you've got to break it down and be really specific. You know, and this is why picturing our future means we have to be specific. If you want a big house, then where is that house? How much does it cost? Where, you know, get a picture of the actual house that you want, not just some pie in the sky dream. So changing our language, and also, you know, I was again talking to the barber this morning about common law, and I told him, I said, you know, if a policeman says, do you understand me? They're actually saying, do you agree to stand under me? And if you say yes, you've entered the contract, and then they've got you, right? It's like a Venus flytrap, and the language itself is a trap. English in and of its, and probably every language in and of itself is a trap, and I think we're going to be speaking a completely different language in a few years.
We're certainly going to be dropping out an awful lot of vocabulary that won't fly.
And you're a language teacher, right? So that's going to be interesting for you. I'm not so good. You've got at least 2 languages to fix.
Yeah. You know, you're talking about this. I want. Obviously, I agree with you entirely what you're saying about. And as an aside, I'm really good at manifesting. I was excellent. I did it for such a long time. I manifested so many things, and I just manifested things, and that was my problem. And I forgot to fucking manifest happiness. And then when I realized I had all of these things, and I thought, well, why do I not feel fulfilled? I'm surrounded by things and I don't feel happy. I just started to manifest happiness, and boy, that changed the whole game. And I only learned that a few years ago, that I realized I'd missed. It was the key. I hadn't manifest happiness. And when you're happy, the bizarre thing is you don't need to be surrounded by things. No. Because whatever you've got, you're happy in, you know? And what's nice about it, when you manifest happiness, things come. Because when you're in your happiness, you're in your bliss. And when you're in your bliss, you are a magnet.
You are. It took me a long time to understand that, because I first heard about codependency in relationships about, I don't know, 15 years ago. I didn't understand it. I was constantly projecting onto my wife, oh, you're not making me happy. You're not, and she's my ex-wife's pretty wise in this regard, and she'd say, well, it's not my responsibility, and I'd be really pissed off with her. Like, of course it's your responsibility. You're my wife. I mean, this is a big lesson, and this codependency thing it goes beyond personal relationships. It goes with family relationships. It goes with the government. Goes with the schools. Goes with everything. And we got it. Once we're out of that, once we're sovereign, sovereign individuals. This is why. This is my big thing. It's been my big thing for quite a number of years. What is sovereignty? What does it mean to be sovereign? We are. Alex Collier says that we are genetic royalty. 22 species of ET apparently make us up, and we've got incredible abilities that have all been stolen and hidden from us, because that's why 97% of our DNA is called junk by the satanic rulers, because once those strands of DNA get activated, we're going to go into something extraordinary. And that's why there's so many white hats, which is interdimensional, whatever they are. I don't exactly know. I do know that there are things up there in ships because I've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
There are greys because I've seen them operating on my head. I have been abducted. I've seen all of these things. Fairies, demons, fucking Minotaur. I've seen them all, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to remind myself that I've seen them because I'm busy, doing the washing up and I'm in 3D. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that did actually happen. And I've been on YouTube talking about it. So
Exactly.
But the amazing thing about that is that, it gives other people courage to start sharing their stories about that sort of stuff. And we're entering a time. I'm meandering now because I've forgotten what I was originally talking about. Sorry. We're entering a time when these things are going to manifest. But back to that guy that sent me the list of things, it was all a negative take on everything that we're seeing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wrote back to the guy and I said, well, if he's right, we're all fucked then, aren't we? I don't do that. I just don't do it. I don't buy into it. I didn't come to Earth to witness the end of the human race. I didn't.
Yeah.
I came here to witness the birth of the new human race.
Exactly. And let me add something to that. I mean, I used to teach us a lot about how are you going to go through your life? Choose your beliefs. Beliefs, we can change beliefs in an instant. Beliefs are not permanent. People kill for the beliefs, but you can change them in an instant.
And habits.
And habits, you can change them in an instant. So I said to people, look, imagine you go through your life believing that this is going to be a shit show. It's going to be awful. You go through your life being miserable, horrible, depressed, and then it's a shit show and you die. Or you go through your life believing it's all going to be great. It's all going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And you're happy, and it's a shit show and you die. I would prefer that version.
Yeah.
I prefer to be happy. If it ends awfully, well, so fuck it. But I'm going to be happy now. And what's the point of believing something's going to be awful? I mean, even when you know that you're creating it, but just what's the point of that? Be happy. Have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up.
I was 11 years old at school on the way home from I think it was lunch, and I remember stood on the school field talking to one of my friends, and he was going, "Why are you such an optimist?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Why am I such an optimist?" He said, "Well, it's just not realistic, is it?"
I love that word. Yeah, step into the real world. Yeah.
I'm a realist. I'm like, well, good for you. Go away. And I said to him, and I wasn't completely right at the time, but I said, well, being an optimist or a pessimist maybe doesn't change the outcome. It does.
Yes, it does.
But I was 11, so give me a break.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I said, maybe it doesn't change the outcome. I said, but the difference between you and me is I'm having a better time getting there.
Absolutely.
I was 11. I knew this at 11.
Absolutely.
And I've had, there's been down times, there's been tough times, but generally, my nicknames through my life have been things like, apart from arsehole, have been things like Smiler,
Yeah.
That's what people have called me, because I've just tried to bounce through life as much as I can, as best I can, without hurting anybody as much as I can, and enjoying life. And that's what we have to do. If you go to my Facebook page, it says have fun every day. That was a meme I made 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And I put it there as a reminder for me as well, because, these tough times, you've got to find that we've all got it within us. I had a healing session yesterday, and it was with Julia Fairfax, the woman that I just told you about. And she put me in this gold infinity thing, and funnily enough, there was a skip in one side, and that's weird because I used to have a skip business, and then the other side was me and a sofa, and then these some of my guides came in, And one of the guides that came in, who I'd never seen before, I'd seen the other guy before, but this one was a woman dressed like a kind of shabby Mary Poppins.
Hmm.
And she said, "Well, why is she here?" And I was, and I got the message. She's come to teach you to dance again. And then I was like, "That's a good point. I haven't danced in about 18 months. I don't remember the last time I danced. I love
Uh-huh.
dancing.
Uh-huh.
What? So today, well, last night I said to my son, I said, right, I'm gonna buy a big fuck off music system, and I'm gonna get massive speakers, and every night I'm just gonna bang it on. Because I've got a big room here, and I just
Yeah.
work in it, right? And if I
Uh-huh.
can get some speakers in the corner and just bang it out, I'm gonna start dancing again.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's so
Absolutely.
simple. I should pick up my bloody guitar. You should get online and give me some lessons, Gordon. I've been trying to learn my guitar for
Well,
30 years.
interesting. Just the other day, I've been trying to make sure that I keep myself uncomfortable since I was 50. I needed to be uncomfortable.
You're not 50.
I'm 57.
What? You
Yeah,
look about
57.
37.
Thank you very much.
I'll have some of what he's having.
Good genes. So I thought I played the guitar since I was 17, strummer, and I was saying, oh, in another life I'll learn how to pluck, and I went, hang on a
Hang on
minute,
a minute. Yeah.
you're frightened of that, Gordon, and as soon as I know I'm frightened of something, I've got to do it. So that's it. I've been spending. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Wow. So, Mark, by the way, we need to talk about our courses, don't we? That.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's been. I mean, you've been doing courses for a few years. What? Yeah. So, what courses are you doing at the moment?
Well, the as we were talking earlier, the message that I received and I keep receiving is we need to get ready. We need to get prepared. The walking wounded are coming, and so I've spent the last 15 years helping people in therapy and using hypnosis. So what I've started, I'm just building a website now. I've got it built, but I haven't got the dates in for courses. So next year, what I'm going to be doing, I've already done a couple of series of courses teaching past life regression and higher self work with hypnosis. But next year, I'm going to be teaching hypnosis, and then people can bolt on other courses like chair therapy, which is fantastic for dealing with relationship trauma, regression to early, heal the child, all kinds of stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to be offering, so that the healers can come and get extra tools for the toolbox, because they're going to need them. They're going to need them.
Well, the past life regression I did with you over a year ago has has been such an enriching thing. It's hard to quantify
Yeah.
because I said to you at the time, I don't know if I'm making it up. I don't know what
Ah,
this, and I was a tall blue alien
I
called
remember.
Artemis, and
Uh-huh.
turns out that's true.
Let me tell you, just interestingly, when I've been doing this for a long time, everybody had a past life. Everyone had a past life on this earth. The last 12 months, 50% of the people aren't from this earth.
That's the thing.
And the message I'm getting from when we talk to the higher selves is always they are here because we're in the backup plan. The first plan was not going according to plan. And so they always had a backup plan, which was to import a load of beings from other places to bring light. And that's why so many people feel so out of place here, that
Mm,
this isn't their world. They don't know, and they don't have any past lives here. They're not in the karmic wheel.
interesting. Yeah, well,
Mm,
it doesn't surprise me. But if you're watching this and you haven't done a past life regression, get on with Gordon.
here we are.
But well, that's brilliant. My course, my day job uh, is digital marketing,
Yeah.
right? I never mentioned that. I didn't, I never set my channel up to do anything like that. I don't even do keywords on my videos. I don't. I just get them out, get them out, get them out. Blah blah blah. And then I got this message: you need to make a course. And I was like, what? I mean, literally, I was having an argument with my higher self for about a month because it kept coming back. It was like the poems. It was like, no, it was like poking me, saying you got to do it. And I was like, what? What? So I thought, okay, I'll make a video, and I just made a video, and I called it "How to Monetize What's Already in Your Head: Create a New Income Stream and Become Sovereign Quickly." Because I just see so many people codependent on the state.
Mhm.
or struggling financially or losing their jobs because they won't get this.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how can I teach people to be more independent? Well, money is one of the things. Oh, but you can't do that because the money system is full of shit. Yes, but that's what we've got right now. So by teaching people how to become independent within what we've got in front of us right now, then we create stronger people going forward. And whatever we've got coming forward means that they become leaders.
Yeah.
So really, it's a leadership course, but it's a course about digging in to find that inner leader within you, because we're all leaders and teachers, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah.
And what the world needs going forward is more teachers and leaders and
Yeah.
healers and all of this. But we have to, in order to create a sovereign world of sovereign individuals, which is my dream, and that's where I think we've got to go. There's the only way out of this, and it's the only way to go into that golden age. We have to be that. Then that's what this course really is about. And I didn't expect much. I thought, okay, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be good for me to focus on this instead of
Mhm.
blah blah blah, all the negative stuff. And it was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. I filmed it over 6 weeks. There was 20 hours of lectures. There's about 30 hours in total in there at the moment, but we're adding to it all the time. We've got 400 students nearly now. And but what surprised me was how it's become a self-perpetuating engine, and the people within the course are all helping each other, cooperating. And the way that I've taught it is not, I haven't spoon-fed them with everything. I've told them the principles, and I've said, now you go and find out how to use that piece of software yourself, or now you go and find out why you have to do that, because that's one of the things I've noticed in the last couple of years, is that people have become so spoon-fed they don't even know how to find a link in a video description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got a link for that?
And it's nothing to do with age either. People might be watching this going, yeah, well, if you're 70 plus. No, I know 70, 80-year-olds that know how to do this stuff. It's nothing to do with your age. It's to do with your ability to just sort yourself out.
Yeah.
Look after yourself, because that's, and it's been a beautiful experience doing that. And also I think it's part of the information war. I think that's why I got asked to do it. Because I spent 20 years wondering why I was involved with the internet. I mean, I was when the internet came along, I was making a TV show as a writer and a performer, and I was working in that area. But then the internet came along, and I dumped all that and went straight into the internet. Spent years wondering why I was doing it.
Yeah.
Because I don't fundamentally marketing. A lot of marketing is based upon Edward Bernays' Propaganda, 1929, right? Mm-hmm. Which is the book that has really solidified their the stuff that being able to pull off what they're doing now. This is the book that convinced people to drink orange juice for breakfast, or women to smoke, or all of this Bill Hicks stuff, where Bill Hicks talks about if you work in marketing, kill yourself. I was like, yeah, I agree with Bill. Oh shit, I'm in marketing. But where the internet's backfired for them is that it's allowed people, with the skills that I'm teaching people, it's allowing people to use their platforms to reach thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people with a positive message to counter the flood of negative that they've been pushing out. Mm-hmm. Back to Cliff High, this talk I saw him do the other day, and he was talking about the guy running the car into the crowd and unfortunately killing some people. The media were trying to paint him out as some, I don't know, right-wing Trump nutter.
Always right-wing, yeah.
Yeah, it was the opposite. He was like a paedophile that shouldn't have been out of prison. Only been out of prison 2 days or something, obviously MK Ultra or whatever.
Yeah.
And the backlash that the media got, and Cliff High was pointing out that they were losing the war. And it's a consciousness war, but that can be viewed by looking at movements online. So the whole online thing allows us to kind of see this sea of consciousness move in one direction and another direction. Sure. So it's been a real privilege to do that. So yeah, excellent.
It's a way forward, I think. And you mentioned, just to round off, I know your time's valuable. You mentioned leaders, the new leaders, and this is a message that's come through so strongly for me, that we started off at the beginning of this with people who spoke out. I'm saying them, people who spoke out and who give us the information that we needed to know, and la 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 la. now we're ready for some new leaders. We're ready for the new wave of leaders who are going to take us forward.
I think we are, and I think that's why we're seeing those guys in Australia rise up. I want
Yeah,
to see some, like I said, I'm seeing it's like green sprouts, green,
yeah,
these shoots. Sorry, green shoots
yeah,
popping up of people, and they're going. I think they're gonna snowball.
absolutely.
As long as the leaders don't come into just. It's like the Hunger Games. Have you seen the Hunger Games?
Yeah, yeah.
I ignored those films because I was like, I knew that was Illuminati stuff, but I didn't see the positive side of them. And I sat down a couple of months ago and I thought, I'm going to watch these films just because
Hmm.
it's a missing gap in my knowledge, right? So I watched them, and I was thinking about the spoilers here, by the way, how she shoots the woman that's leading the rebellion against Donald Sutherland, but she sees that she's just going to be just like him once she gets in. So she's got this arrow and she kills her instead of lighting the flame or whatever at the end.
Yeah,
And that's what we have to be careful of. And I think
yes.
that's why this has all taken so long, because the new system that I believe is coming in cannot be the same as the one that we've, it can't just be replacing the names and faces, because that's how the cabal have managed to be so strong. Because
Yeah,
if you took one of them out, they're just somebody beneath to replace them within
absolutely.
that pyramidical system.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
that's what it's, that's how they've perpetuated it, because they've got these long
yeah.
term plans, right?
There's always somebody waiting to step in. The feeling that I get, the messages I get are that the new leaders are going to be businessmen,
Good,
not
good.
not politicians, businessmen, who understand how things work. And the most important thing is that they're going to love mankind.
Yeah,
And the difference that changes everything, because the politicians hate us.
yeah,
They hate us.
yeah,
They hold us in contempt. And
yeah.
imagine somebody who's trying to help us because they love us. For goodness sake, that would just be beautiful.
Well, I was talking to my friend at a cafe, and he's a great guy, and he's awake mainly. And I said, Donald Trump, and he went, yeah, it'd be good if he got back in. I said, well, he never really left, firstly, and secondly, it had to be this way. And I was kind of skirting around it, and he said, yeah, I like him. It's if he wasn't quite so racist. And I went, oh, for fuck. I said, look, are you crazy? Have you actually look at Donald Trump? Actually look at what he said and what he did, and the people and the stories. If you actually go into the truth about him, you're looking at a man that has massive compassion for the human race, massive, and has been the opposite of a racist. Oh, what
Yeah,
about the border wall in Mexico? That was to stop child trafficking, to
yeah.
stop drugs, and also that wall looks like it's a Tesla wall, which is going to give free energy and make everybody healthy again, which is what it used to be back in Tartarian times, which is not that
Hmm.
long ago,
Yeah.
right? If you start looking into this stuff, but it's, I just want to hold their hand and pull them through the wall.
Unfortunately, they've been coached so well by the
Oh,
media. They've been coached so well. And I always used it that my rule of thumb is, if the media like somebody, that means they're a bad person. If they hate somebody, that means they're a good person. I just use that rule of thumb. I'm not always right, but hey, pretty much, if they're attacking somebody, you got to look at that person and say what they're doing well. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, and whatever the government tells you to do the complete opposite.
opposite. Absolutely,
The
absolutely.
complete opposite.
Aye, aye, aye. Mark, it's been
Well,
absolutely fantastic talking to you.
it's always great to talk to you. Really is lovely, actually. It's like we're like a little timestamp, aren't we?
Yeah,
3 episodes
yeah.
over the year, and lots of love to your lovely wife and Spain. Oh, I'd love to go to Spain.
Don't come yet.
It's
Wait until it's sorted out. Yeah.
I actually did pop over to Spain last year for a week.
Right.
One of my favorite things to do in the world is to sit outside in the evening in those lovely Spanish restaurants and sit at a
Hmm.
big table, and the waiters are brilliant, the food's amazing. But last year, did all that with armed guards, right, with machine guns there at 11 o'clock. I'm like, how can anybody eat with an armed guard? It's literally a prison. Yeah, so that's
Takes all the joy out of it. Really takes the joy out of your tapas, really, doesn't it?
no, but then you get the waiter going like this at you, you know, you know, Don't you know? And then you're like in a secret club, and then it becomes fun. But no, I love Spain, and it's great to speak to you again. Thank you.
Okay, Mark. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And I'll put on the video that I post on mine. I'll put your links for your course and stuff like that.
You send me your edited version.
Yeah.
Are you doing a 1 hour edited version?
I can do it. Just normally, because 1 hour is like a lot for people to these days to watch, isn't it? But I'll do 1 hour. I'll do a 1 hour. I'll edit it 1 hour, and then I might chop it up for my channel. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you do me a favor? You know when my son popped up in the door?
I'll take that out. Yeah.
Chop him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
No
then
problem.
send me that 1 hour version with your links, and I'll pop it on mine as well.
Super. I shall do that.
And thank you. Great to speak to you.
Okay, Mark. Take care. Have a great.
We're still here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're still here. We're still going to be here. We're going to be having a glass of something to drink and talking about this in the future.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Beautiful. We're going to have the biggest fuck off party here in Spain with my Telegram group. We're all coming here. Going to have a party for a week when this is done.
Amazing. I'm looking forward. God, oh, come on. We're getting close.
Mark,
we're close, aren't we?
We are really paper thin close, just over the other side.
Great to hear you say that as well. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, Mark. Take care. Bye-bye.